What's going on, everybody? This is Dave from Post Rock Promo. I'm here with Neil and Chrissy from Whimsical from Dyer, Indiana, and Sanford, Florida. How's it going, guys?
Hi,
Woo!
good.
Thanks for having us.
Really appreciate you guys coming on. Let's dive right into it. So, when and how did Whimsical form?
Go, Chrissy.
Oh, I'm going. You want me to go?
Yeah, sure. I
Okay.
always tell the story.
Okay. So Neil and I have been friends since high school, very good friends, and he had another band at that time. And I'm just going to give you like some brief synopsis here. So he had me sing on one of their tracks, somehow heard it in me that I had the ability to sing. Decided that he wanted to do another project that was a little bit more less shoegaze and melancholic than his previous band. This one he wanted to be a little bit more of the dream pop shoegaze side, and he said that he always knew he wanted me to be the singer for it, wasn't going to give me much of a choice, which I'm grateful for because it's pushed me out of my own comfort zone many times. And this was like, when was our first beginnings, Neil? I don't know those things as well as you do.
Well, the other band ended at the end of 95, and then I was just writing songs for what would become Whimsical for years until we could find a lineup. And I went away for school for a while, and but we officially started in the summer of 1999, but there was attempts in 98 and 97 as well, but we just couldn't find lineups to make it work. But from the summer of 99 until basically the beginning of 2005 was our original run.
Played all over
So, yeah.
Chicago and released an album then. I don't know if you have this in your questions, but there's quite an interesting story as to how we came back to making music. So you can let me know if you want us to hold off on that answer.
That's awesome. So, how did you guys come back to making music?
You deserve to tell this one, Neil.
Well, we had we were like 90% done recording our second album, and the band kind of just fell apart. And basically I ended up moving to California a couple years later, and years later, around 2015 or so, I found the lost hard drive. So basically like 10 years after the fact, that had the album on it. And I'd been searching for it, and I just found it in a bag, like a duffel bag of electrical cords and guitar cables and whatnot. And I looked at it and I realized it had the year on it that it could be the hard drive. And I couldn't read any files off of it, but a friend of mine who was an IT guy, I paid him like, I don't know, $400 or $500 or whatever it was, and he was able to get the files off of it. And sure enough, our old unfinished album was on there. So I basically just tried to finish it the best I could, and then kind of started sending that out to labels. And Wyatt from St. Marie Records was interested in putting it out. He liked the story of the fact that it was like this lost 10-year album. And there was a version of it that just had me finishing a couple things on it, but there was some stuff that Chrissy still needed to finish. But with me being across the country, it was like, how is she going to finish this? Well, we ended up just deciding, hey, let's start doing music again, just her and I. And through Dropbox and me making a studio for her at her house, which you could see the microphone thing behind her head, and she's got her interface over her shoulder. And so basically, we taught ourselves how to send each other files, and she was able to finish the album. And that's our Sleep to Dream album that came out in 2000, was
16?
it 16, 17? I don't remember.
16 or 17.
On St. Marie Records. And I want to say it was early 17, but yeah, so that was this long lost album. And from that point on, it's just been Chrissy and I. We're still friends with the old members and everything like that. And when we play live, occasionally it's still the five of us that played on the Sleep to Dream album. But it's just easier for it to just be Chrissy and I as a recording thing going forward.
That's awesome.
It is.
So-
It's surreal. The fact that I record anything is a miracle in and of itself. So he has like if it weren't for Neil, one, believing in me that I could sing, but also like helping me set up the ability to record. Like I'm sure you've known that I've gone on to do a lot of things since then, working with Andy of the Churchill Garden, all these collaborations, and it all started with Neil like setting me up with the ability to record or even have a clue what I'm doing. So, and we've, after Sleep to Dream, we released Bright Smiles and Broken Hearts in 2019, and then now we're ramping up to release what will be our 4th album, April 1st.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Quite the process.
Yes, it has been a process. Very streamlined now to the point where I'm like, oh my God, please nothing break. I don't think I would know how to set it all up again. So yeah, but it works very well.
So you guys released a new song in December. It's a cover, Cerulean by the Ocean Blue. How's the response been?
Great. I think it took us by surprise a little bit. We were excited to do it, but I don't think we expected, like, even the Ocean Blue responded and shared it on all their social medias, and we were like, what is going on? So it's been for me, we hoped for that, but I think it exceeded any expectations. Neil, anything?
Yeah, I mean, we basically knew that it was going to be a while before the new album came out, so we had a couple covers already recorded, and we kind of wanted to space it out so we would have at least some song out like every 2 months. And so I don't even remember how we got to doing the Ocean Blue cover. I don't even remember.
I do. It was because I had mentioned it to you. I was singing it like one day when I was on my walk, and I'm like, I remember hearing this song for the first time when I came into your room. You had it on, and I was like, what is this? And it was just forever like this like special song. Every time I hear it, I like flash back to that moment. Now Neil tells me that he remembers me crying when I heard it, and I'm like, I don't remember that, but
you
was
did.
just,
I'm not
yeah,
bawling, but you were
right,
like,
but
this
just I
is
was
like the
moved by
most
it.
perfect pop songs I'd ever heard. You, for some reason, the Ocean Blue had skipped you
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah.
And this was like probably 2001 or so.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you talk about? How do you not know these albums? And so I was playing it, and you got like emotional how perfect it was and stuff. And so yeah, anyway, we did the cover just to have something out. And then our label Shelf Life Records has worked with the Ocean Blue in the past, and they offered to make sure that the Ocean Blue at least heard our cover. So, and then the Ocean Blue was kind enough to kind of post it around and stuff like that. So it was exciting. I mean, I've listened to them since that album came out when I was, I don't know, 15 or something. So just the fact that they even heard anything that I've done is like, a pretty exciting thing, I guess.
I think that's really amazing when big bands share stuff to their pages.
Mm-hmm. We had that happen with Slow Dive, actually, which is a long story in and of itself, but that was another cover. The first cover we ever did that we released was Dagger, and someone shared it with Rachel. Then Rachel shared it with other people and started following us, and we're like, what is going on? And now she's bought our album, our vinyl. She supported it, posted about it, and
That's
someone
incredible.
considered a friend. It's cool. I'm all about the humble people, and so when you see people in those positions like that, they could just turn a blind eye to it, but the fact that they take the time to listen, and then also they understand what it's like. You make music and you want your music to be heard, and sometimes that's all it takes is just sharing it. So it's definitely made me love them even more.
Every big band should be like them.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Any person in any level of success should just remember where you came from and your humble beginnings, and just look to help someone else out too.
Absolutely. So who would you say are your biggest influences?
Go ahead,
Me?
Neely. Go for it. Whimsical, are you asking?
Whimsical.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, probably Robert Smith, The Cure. I mean, early Ride, early Lush. I don't know if we sound like anything. I mean, I wish I could say early Verve, because I wish I could say I could play like Nick McCabe, but I'm not a genius like him. But I'd like to say that. But I mean, really, as far as songwriting goes, it's mostly probably just Robert Smith, and that kind of made it who I am as far as how I play and stuff like that. But Yeah, I mean, we don't try to sound like anybody or when we're writing or anything like that. I'm not thinking of influences or whatever, but definitely how I learned how to put songs together and stuff was definitely by basically listening to The Cure growing up and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think for me, like vocally, same thing. You never try to emulate someone else's sound, but like was very heavily influenced and inspired by vocalists like Liz Fraser of Cocteau Twins and Slow Dive's Rachel, Harriet Wheeler from the Sundays, and even like Lisa Gerard from Dead Can Dance. And I think the thing that I loved about them so much is just how unique and different their voices are, and that you cannot truly, I don't feel, can compare them to anyone else. They have this very distinct thing. And so yeah, vocally, those would be my inspirations.
Very cool. So if you could tour with one of them, which one?
I know mine. I'll just say it. Slow Dive. No question. Slow Dive.
Well, I mean, I'd say Slow Dive too, except for if I could play with The Cure, we'd be playing to,
That's true.
I don't know, 10,000, 20,000 people. So that would be different. But I mean, definitely if there was one band of just like one of the big shoegaze bands, it would be Slow Dive for sure.
Either one would be absolutely incredible. I don't think I'd be able to pick between the two just because those are a couple of my favorite bands of all time.
Yeah. Definitely
Um,
legends.
Back in like 94 or so, my band from high school that Chrissy had talked about briefly earlier, there was no internet back then, at least we didn't have internet, but we got word that Slow Dive was coming to play Chicago, and I spent hours on the phone trying to get a hold of the Metro, trying to see if we can open up for them. Of course, they already had opening band and on tour, but I'm just like 17, like it's got to be us, it's got to be us, and it wasn't us. I did get somebody on the phone and they were like, nope, they already have bands touring with them and stuff, and but anyway,
that's absolutely incredible. I would have done the same thing. All right, so now I'm going to ask you guys some non-music questions. It's a good way for me to get to know you. I did this with the other bands I interviewed. Are you ready?
Fire away.
Sure.
All right, first one, favorite color?
Green.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I would say like an emerald green for me as well.
That's different. I like it.
Yeah.
Favorite
Why do
subject?
we have a green album cover?
What's that?
I said, why don't we have a green album cover? I don't think I knew that about Neil. Go ahead.
That should be the album cover for your next album.
Yeah. Something green.
The new one's already done, but we're heading away around the curve, the corner to get to green.
You guys will have at least one fan.
Yeah.
Favorite subject?
Yeah, favorite subject in school.
None. Study hall. You go. I gotta think.
Mine was for sure art. Anything art related. I had like ceramics class and art class, but art for sure was always my favorite.
I'd say, even though I didn't take art in high school, in middle school it was art. High school, I was just playing in bands, and I don't even remember doing one assignment or homework or anything. I honestly didn't. And then college, I went to school for music and audio and engineering, but I liked doing anything with like soldering and building circuits and stuff like that. And so, yeah.
The polar opposite.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So if you guys had $1 million and you could donate it to any charity, which one?
I have a very big heart for those with special needs. So I'm not sure what specific charity, but it would 100% go to helping kids with special needs, just in any way that it could help, and just to raise the platform for them and awareness and just how many special needs there are. So that's
You're speaking my language.
Yeah. Big heart for that.
Yeah, I don't know of any specific ones because I don't have $1 million, but it would either be special needs, like she said, or it would be some sort of shelter for animals, or it would be helping to bring like music back into schools again, since band is kind of so arts in general have just been kind of overlooked or whatever. And I've always been jealous because like in Sweden and Finland and in Norway, I mean, the kids, it's not just like normal band where here's a trumpet, here's a clarinet or whatever. Like they can learn guitar and drums and stuff like that. And that's why a lot of these Swedish bands were in the early 90s and late 80s. A lot of these metal bands like Entombed and Dismember, they were like 17 years old and playing. They were signed and amazing musicians because they'd been playing these instruments since they were 9 and 10. Whereas in America, or United States, you know, school wasn't providing that sort of thing. So I've always been kind of jealous for that. I might need more than $1 million to make that happen, but I'll let you know.
They were playing drums and the guitar and singing in the womb.
Yeah,
that's right.
crazy.
So if you guys could go back in time and talk to one world leader or person of influence, who would it be?
I am completely blown away by the passion and difference that Martin Luther King was able to make. And I would definitely love to pick a brilliant brain like that, and just how he was willing to be a voice for so many people that needed that voice at that time. And yeah, I'm just, he's inspirational on another level for me.
I got nobody. I'm like a World War II buff. So I'm trying, like everybody I'm thinking of has something, but they're more like soldiers and stuff that were in there, you know, like Captain Winters from Band of Brothers and stuff like that. But it's, I mean, by me saying Dwight Eisenhower, I mean, he did a lot, but he wasn't on the front lines or doing anything. So that to me is like, yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if I have an answer for that, to be honest with you. Again, something I haven't thought about, to be honest with you.
I like these questions though. Thought provoking.
Trying to keep it interesting.
I like it.
Okay.
If you could be fluent in another language instantly, what language?
Swiss German, so I could communicate more with my bandmate Andy. And it's a very interesting thing because he speaks very good English, but Swiss German is actually not a language that you can learn unless you're like a native to that area. So they don't even speak regular German. It's like their own language to that pocket. And even within Switzerland, there are 5 different languages across that country. It's fascinating to me.
Wow, that would throw me off.
It's so interesting, but I think, yeah, it's, you can't really like go take a course. And also Swiss German is not a written language, which he has explained to me. So when they write something, unless you're writing to someone else who speaks your language and you're writing like to each other, I don't know how that works, but like it's German written, but spoken differently. So yeah, Swiss German.
I took 3 years of German in high school, but what I learned like 2 weeks in my first year was pretty much what I knew 3 years later. So I would say I know how to, I can sing happy birthday. I can count up to 10.
I'll be expecting that in June.
But I mean, either German for real this time, or just because living 12 years, 3 hours north of Mexico and working with a ton of Mexicans, it was like, man, I wish I knew what you guys were saying. So yeah, one of those two.
Very cool. All right, last question. What are some places in Dyer, Indiana, and Sanford, Florida that visitors should check out?
Dyer.
No, actually, Northwest Indiana, I got to tell you, I think Northwest Indiana as a whole is impressive to me because it's right on the heels of Chicago. So we're considered like Chicagoland. And not only just like, especially lately, there's all kinds of very cool like coffee shops, and there are still some record stores, things like that. In downtown Griffith, there is a place called S&J Radio, like, or S&J, is that what he calls it?
S&J Records.
Stereo. Oh, okay. And he still has, like, I don't know how the man has had a storefront for this long, but he has a storefront where he is able to sell records and music, and there's just all kinds of things. I would say Dyer, Indiana specifically, not a whole lot right here, but like right outside of it, there's this area around here called the Tri-Town area, and There are a lot of very cool, like little restaurants.
What's the brewery that's over there? Is it Kuma's or what? Not
Oh,
Kuma's.
there's three Floyds in
Three
Northwest Indiana. In
Floyds?
Dyer, there's
Yeah.
Windmill Brewing. That's a good one. There's a ton of breweries actually that where like people come in and do like like they do like a nationwide tour and stop through Northwest Indiana for the breweries. But a lot of cool, restaurants, venues. There are some concert venues here now, which is kind of like what they used to be. You go to Chicago only for that. So, but yeah, just kind of the basic restaurant, music appreciation, coffee shops, things like that. There's more than corn in Indiana. I'll say that much.
I gotta move back. Um,
If that
there's
didn't
nothing.
sell ya.
There's nothing over here except for there's a place called Park Avenue CDs, which is just outside of Orlando. I think it's in Winter Park. It was there when I went to college here in 98, 99. It's in a new location now. And we were just there Saturday actually. But it's pretty much like one of the coolest record stores you'll ever go to. I took my two young daughters there on Saturday, and they'd never been into a record store before, so they'd never seen anything like that. And they lasted about 5 minutes before my wife had to take them out because they were going crazy and trying to ask to buy every single thing. But that being said, I mean, they carry, all the slow dive vinyl. I mean, they have tons of bootlegs. I mean, so many bootlegs. I mean, there was probably 12 different Cure bootlegs on vinyl there, but the issue is everything is like minimum $36 for, a record. And I found a Tycho album there that I've been looking for probably 12 years, and they wanted $150 for it.
Ooh, steep.
Yeah. So, but it's a really cool place. It's just, I don't have money for it, but, really, there's really nothing else. I mean, I've always lived by Chicago or by LA, so I was always around shows my whole life. And ever since I moved here, the only few shows I've been here have been like death metal and grindcore shows of friends of mine and bands that are on tour that came through and were playing some kind of smaller club or whatever. But as far as like a big place, I haven't even, nobody comes to Florida for on tour, so that's, I don't know. So Park Avenue CDs is the one place that I would say to at least check out, or Park Avenue Records, whatever it's called.
And to note for anyone who does like for Northwest Indiana and Dyer and where we grew up and hung out, I mean, it really is enveloped into Chicagoland. So like when we would hang out, we were so fortunate because we got to see pretty much every band imaginable because they almost always hit Chicago. So it's very cool to live, and we're like 35 miles southeast of Chicago. So it's more like Chicago suburbs with lower taxes.
That's always good.
If you look at Indiana, the time zone, the very northwest little snippet is in the Chicago time zone, and that's where we're from. The rest of Indiana, literally you drive 15 minutes any east or south, you're in a different time zone. It's just this little snippet that I'm gonna keep doing this. There's this little snippet that is part of the Chicago time zone. I mean, we're like 2 exits away on 8094 from basically Illinois, but yeah. So
that's awesome. Well, I really appreciate you guys coming on. The support means the world to me.
Oh, we appreciate your support. Very honored. Thank you.
Could we
oh, go ahead.
Do we have, how many minutes do we got left until it runs out? 4:25.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, could we talk about what we got going on this Friday?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And beyond, Chrissy. Just encompass it. Oh, okay. Well, we do have a brand new single coming out Friday as well as a video. So that's premiering February 18th. I don't know how soon this will be out there, but that'll be out this Friday. Then we have another single called Quicksand that's releasing March 2nd. A third single called Crash and Burn that is coming out March 23rd. And then our fourth album, which is called Melt, will be officially released via Shelf Life Records and our overseas label in Germany called Through Love Records. They're doing like a split release with Shelf Life, and that all comes out on April 1st. So super excited. Vinyl, colored vinyl, black vinyl, digital, and CD, and posters.
So everybody that's going to watch this later better check it out.
Please.
And buy it.
Yes.
Support the band.
We would love that.
Please, or else we'll be homeless.
And buy some merch too.
But yes, so you'll be seeing lots of posts from us, and we apologize in advance, but
yeah,
how it goes.
yes.
Oh, I love it. Wouldn't want to have it any other way.
Well, and I really got to tell you, a tip of the hat. You are so passionate about your pursuit of music and helping people get their music out there. I always see what you're posting, and so I think it's just very respectable, and we need people like you out there to help support independent artists.
I feel the same way about you guys. Like, you guys keep me going, and you and the other bands that I'm friends with and I promote, like, you guys remind me all the time why I love doing this so much. It can be tough with the algorithm and all that stuff, but I just keep thinking about you guys and doing the right things and getting your music and your faces out there. And, so in the end, it's all worth it. And it's not about the money, not about the recognition, none of that stuff. It's about helping you guys, making new friends, networking, and, going from there.
Well, we really appreciate it.
Of course.
Thank you very much.
So where can the people that are going to watch this later find your music at?
Well, luckily our label set up something called, is it just whimsicalband.com, right? Isn't that?
Let me check it.
You
think
better
so.
check. But we used to, tell people go to Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. But anyway, we set up something where if they go to whimsicalband.com, right, Chrissy? It has a link to like every social media, every social media thing. It's, so anyway, yes. So whimsicalband.com will get you anywhere you need to go for us. And or just look us up on Bandcamp. I mean, that's like the main site, where we do
Keep
stuff.
it simple.
And real fast, I want to say we also have like 2 albums called Brought to Light, Volume 1 and Volume 2, and everything's free on there, and it's just all our covers and B-sides and remixes and everything. So I feel like people just kind of ignore it because we don't talk about it, but that's kind of like anytime we record extra stuff, we just throw it in one of those. So if anybody's bored and want to check out some of the things we've done, definitely check those out.
Heck yeah. Well, I hope you guys have a great night, and we'll chat soon.
Thank you, Dave.
All
Thank
right,
you so much.
you.
See ya.